Full disclosure, news and commentary number 93. Holy shit, 93, 93, 93, 93. Hey, this is gonna be a big one. That's what she said. Hey, big weekend for me. I had a grand time at No Peace Underground. They're having their first show with a ring uh, this Friday. And I've already gotten an invite to go there, so I may just do just that. And I also went to ICW in Port Richey, Florida. Had a grand old time. But I'm putting out a video about that right after I get done with this and put this up. Then I'm going to insert the video clips and the pictures into the video that I've already recorded about my weekend with Deathmatch Wrestling. And then I'm actually decided I'm going to write an article tomorrow about the next evolution of pro wrestling in general, but Deathmatch Wrestling in particular. Pretty great. Talk to more of the Deathmatch wrestlers this time around. Very, very interesting. What's the commentary about? The commentary is about that bullshit that went down betwixt Matt Griffin in Action Wrestling, Southern Honor Wrestling, bouncing around poor Kevin Ryan along the way, and how it reflects a bunch of things that we got to motherfucking fix in 2021, motherfuckers. We need to do it. I'm going to talk about it, and I'm going to let it fly in that commentary. You can probably already tell by my attitude. Diet Sunkissed. Then I'm fucking got both barrels loaded, ready to shoot. Not in the dumb wrestling sense. I'm also going to talk about the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. The nominees have come out. The voting has opened. A bunch of people have already fucking voted, which is phenomenal. Voting closes on Sunday at noon. So fucking go. And a bunch of people have requested ballots. That's great. We have a system in place. The committee is on it this year. We already have people pissing and moaning and bitching and moaning and crying. So you know it's award season. And yes, not tomorrow, which is the 12th, but the 19th will be the tipping point where we give out the awards. And this year, thanks to Figure of Your Imagination, there will be motherfucking trophies. Pretty grand, pretty great. Won't stop some people from fucking griping, though, will it? And of course, it's not the same people who years ago were bitching and moaning and trying to get a nomination and get an award and all the rest of that shit. Couldn't be that. Couldn't be. I mean, I get it. I get people fucking crying about it. And I get the dumb shit that people say about the awards. And, you know, I've seen everything from people who've won the awards claiming it somehow hurt them. Fuck. I get it, though. I have mercy for all of that. Because people have a weird thing about desire. And they have a weird thing about when they get what they want, about the inability to deal with it. And some people can't handle success. And some people can't handle regret. And the awards invoke all of these different emotions in everybody. See, I'm already fucking off and running. And we haven't even really got into this shit. But what we are going to get into is Patreon. Look. I'm going to start making more content exclusive for Patreon only. I still put out videos on the regular for patrons only. But I think I'm going to take the advice of a number of people and start putting more stuff there exclusive to sort of encourage people to sign up for the Patreon. I still have a ton of people, including Justin, Joe, Brian, D, Dan, Derek, and Diana. A lot of D. Brett, Larry, not that one, but the other one, Rob Rod. And then the Big Mac Daddies, Eric the World Walker, who I still owe a story to. And the OG Myron. But people got goals, I got goals. And one of my goals is to get that Patreon even higher. Let's talk about wrestling. Let's talk about Victory Championship Wrestling with 100, which for them was a sellout because of COVID restrictions. Doing the 2-show thing a la Action. Selling out both of those shows on January 2nd. Let's talk about APW, who's got their crowd up in the respectable range, 83. Let's talk about Southern Violence in the motherfucking chilly cold, drawing 170. That is no mean feat. Let me say, No Peace Underground was full of people, but that venue was not very big. So we're talking like 50, including some notables, which I talk about on Patreon, but I won't talk about here or in my public videos because I don't want to get them in trouble. I want to hear about it, Steve. Then motherfucker draw my Patreon, bitch. You heard me, bitch. But Southern Violence drew 170. ICW charging the ticket prices that they charge, $75 for ringside, $40 for general admission. Last time they got about 170. Impressive. This time they got $250. There were more motherfucking people there for the coldest night in Florida that we've had all year. I was in a coat. Jeff was in like a thin sweater thing and a hoodie because he's not as smart as me. I had the green jacket in the house and a coat. So I'm smart. WrestleAmerica drew 200. 200. Larry's report is on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. Larry's pissed and so am I. Give me the motherfucking rant. WrestleAmerica. The fuck. So many good things. So much good talent you have access to. So many wrestling minds backstage that can help you out. Organize your shit. 3-hour fucking show. Fuck you, WrestleAmerica. Like, get your shit together. Have somebody help run that back. Somebody to fucking... Is Simon Sermon not there? Is Simon Sermon not there? If Simon Sermon's there, let him run the back. Now, if he doesn't want to run the back, then make it fucking worth his while. And if he won't do it, get somebody else. You can't... This disorganized shit is not... Come on. The fuck. WrestleAmerica a few years ago was in these Georgia Wrestling History Awards, guys. But they're allowing themselves to fall off, and there's no fucking reason for it. I'm fucking keyed up. Can you fucking tell? Part of it is I'm pissed that I'm going to have to watch Raw. Videos I'm putting out. The deathmatch video, I'll probably do the written piece and then a follow-up with the written piece. I know I got a bunch of other shit to do. Of course, I'll do Raw. I'll do Dark. I'll do Impact. I'll do NXT. I'll do Dynamite. I'll do SmackDown. It's a lot. It's a lot. Let's talk about this All-Pro Championship. Rob Rod was there, and they had 165, give or take. Championship Wrestling from Georgia. Looks like they had a good show, a better show for them. 79. I don't mean in terms of the draw. I just mean when I read the card. Action, now hovering around that 50 mark. Rob Rod had a report about that. Southern Honor had 300. And Larry Goodman, who, you know, Gary Lamb was trying to say, Larry Goodman should go to the other shit. Bet he's glad Larry went to that fucking good-ass shit now, isn't he? Dumb fuck. Fucking Jesus. Southern Honor, obviously back with a vengeance. Is that a Christmas movie too, you fucking diehard weirdos? Nobody's claiming Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie. Fucking relax. Fucking dickheads. PCW decided to go with no crowd for their show because of COVID. But they had a big one on January 8th. Still waiting to hear about that good shit. Pro South did their thing with a kind of a skeleton crew, but it sounded like it went okay. And a seminar happened in Fort Myers, Florida. Ooh, good memory. And according to Scyther from Crypt Wrestle, who hosted this, it was Jerry Lynn, and Mikey Whipwreck. Jerry Lynn, by the way, who works with AEW. They had 40 participants on hand. And you don't fucking believe it? There's pictures. There's 40 motherfuckers there to learn. And it was 7 hours long, according to Siler, when he messaged me. We're messaging back and forth on Twitter. I was going to go to that before the ICW and No Peace shows popped up. Jeff was coming into town. I'm not going to a fucking wrestling seminar when I can go there and do that. Still paid my freight, by the way, for that seminar because I promised that I would. So I did. Just saying. But yeah, 7 hours of learning motherfucking happened. Pretty great. So can you run a successful seminar? The answer is yes. But they did everything right. They, well in advance, announced the seminar and clearly gave everybody their money's worth, etc., 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 etc. There's something special I want to do for the Georgia Wrestling History Awards. It is the dumbest idea I have had in a long time. Think about that. And 2 out of the 3 people that I need for it have agreed to do it. Excited. So, congratulations to Crypt Wrestle, Jerry Lynn, Mikey Whipwreck, and anybody who got to attend that seminar, because I heard it was good. And Scyther. People have noted I'm talking more and more about Florida shit. Yes, I'm adding Florida shit. Does this mean I'm not talking about Georgia shit? Motherfucker, did you hear the first half of this shit? Of course. I'm still going to talk about Georgia. But I'm getting pulled into the Florida scene, and I'm not resisting that pull anymore. And it's fucking great. And my plan in 2021 is to take at least a couple of trips back to Georgia. Shit, my plan is to go to that motherfucking AEW pay-per-view at the end of February in Miami, puppy. My plan is to be there. So, yeah, I'm getting out and about, helping a lot of people, all this kind of shit. Let's talk about these Georgia Wrestling History Awards. Okay. And for the interest of speed in putting this out, I'm not going to put up the thing, but you can look yourself, gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. What does Larry say? Congratulations to all the nominees. Voting will commence shortly. Ballots will be sent all eligible voters from 2019. If you did not vote last year or do not receive a ballot, please send a ballot request via message to the Georgia Wrestling History Facebook page. Bear in mind that voting is limited to individuals that are actively involved in Georgia wrestling. In general, people who work exclusively in ticket sales, concessions, or security will not be eligible to vote this year. Thank your boy for that bullshit. Yay. Overall wrestler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the list, and I'm going to say who the nominees are, and then I'm going to say general thoughts if I have any. Sometimes I'll tell you who I would have voted for if I was going to vote. No, I do not vote. I have never voted. That sounds crazy to you, does it not? But because I have such a say in things, I don't feel that voting in them is right. So I don't. So, overall wrestler, David Ali, Logan Creed, Joe Black, AC Mack, Shane Marks. You know what I want to point out? I want to point out that that list is fucking awesome. I also want to point out the fact that all those guys deserve it. I also want to point out that all of those guys have been involved with the scene and been involved with, or nearly won, or won multiple awards. And those are the kind of wrestlers. Oh my God. I got the third approval. So the crazy thing is going to happen. Excited. And you look at these guys, David Ali, Logan Creed, Joe Black, AC Mack, Shane Marks. I mean, the representation is important, but that's not why these guys are up here. They are up here because they fucking took the fucking wrestling world in Georgia by storm. That's fucking awesome. I got nothing to say. You want me to tell you who I think should win? I'm not going to for that one. People are going to vote for who they're going to vote for. Kyle Matthews, Best Technician Award. Joe Black, Corey Hollis, Chip Day. Do you want 3 better? Fuck me. It's awesome. Just so you know, we try to keep it to 3 whenever possible. For overall wrestler, we expanded it to 5 because it is the most important award in my opinion. And then in a couple of cases, we let 4 slide. And let me tell you, the committee, we worked really hard. It was like 2 hours of debating back and forth. And we attempted to give fair representation and do the best job that we could. I do think there were maybe a couple of oversights in retrospect and a couple things that were pointed out to me. So I'm going to talk about them here. It is what it is, right? Kyle Matthews, Best Technician Award. Joe Black, Corey Hollis, Chip Day. Motherfuck, it's great. Fuck it, I'll just say it. I think Joe Black should win overall wrestler. I think Corey Hollis should win Best Technician. Best Male Performer. Matt Sells, Hold My Beer Hansen, Tyler Culprit. The person who I think should be here who is not here is Simon Sermon. I'll just be fucking honest as I can. I think Simon Sermon should absolutely be here. I think he toiled in obscurity, and part of that is WrestleMerica's fault. WrestleMerica did not do a good job getting fucking nominations in. And so, I'll just be honest, Southern Fried did not do a good job of getting nominations in. At all. At all. And it hurt them. We cannot put anybody up for an award who did not get a nomination. Let me say that again. We cannot put anybody up here for the 3 who did not get a nomination. And there were a couple of cases where somebody probably could have got in if somebody had just nominated them. So is that the committee's fault? No, that's your fucking fault. So save the bitching. Yeah. And numbers mattered. You'll see. For a couple of glaring things that aren't here that probably should be, that's your fault, people. Best Male Performer, I think Simon Sermon should be on the list. If I have to pick a winner here, I'm probably going to go Tyler Culprit. Female Performer. This is one, I'll just be bluntly honest. I washed my hands of it at first. I was just like, you guys come up with whatever because... And then somebody said Dream Girl Ellie, and I went, okay. And then someone said Amy Haven, and that's somebody who I had sort of thrown out there as a name earlier. So I think that helped that one get in. And I said, okay. And then someone said Danny Jordan, and I said, okay. Now, keep in mind, Southern Honor had a great last show. That's not going to factor into these awards. But Danny Jordan, I mean, she had a great fucking year, right? She looks like new money, but that's not all of it. She was at AEW doing her thing. So it's all good. And I feel better about this award than I did before we had to sort of talk about the nomination process. I'll say that because I was just like, hey, just scrap the fucking thing. Here's a case where somebody kind of out of the norm could have got in because somebody said, what about Susie Quinn? Because of all the good shit she did with Ashton Starr. By the way, could Ashton Starr have been up for Best Male Performer or Most Improved? Yes and yes. And I do feel like it was a bit of an oversight that Ashton Starr doesn't show up in any of these awards. And I saw he sort of mentioned a thing about it. And I will say that. I'll jump on the grenade for that, but I will also say if his name had come up in the nomination process more, it would have been more obvious. But it didn't. And that's the fault of everybody around. Just saying. But Susie Quinn was not nominated. If she had been, I probably would have argued pretty hard to get her on this list. Just saying. Best Tag Team or Stable. Undeniable, Lynch Mob, Exotic Youth. Two things that jump out at me. One, it's exciting to see Exotic Youth on here. I think it's a real sign of if you're out there doing the shows and you get the nominations, we will take a look. And this could be the undeniable year. I mean, they did a lot of good stuff. Lynch Mob, of course, last year's winners. You got to have them here, but it didn't feel like they did as much as Undeniable, in my opinion. Most improved wrestler. David Ali, again, I think is awesome. He won it last year. But that didn't mean that he didn't continue to fucking improve, because he most certainly did, because that cat is main event now. Main event. And he's main eventing here, and he's smart. And he's fucking good. And he's at AEW doing the dark thing. Tyler Culprit. What the fuck can you say about that man? Fucking Very Morales. Now he's on dark, and he's doing his shit, and he's wrestling for everybody. It's like somebody who was really fucking smart a few months ago sort of singled him out. But Austin Towers. And I know this might upset some wrestlers. He should win this fucking most improved, man. Because that guy has got a shot, a legitimate shot of getting signed by a big time. And it was during this year where I was lamenting the fact that he had this terrible reputation and that he'd seemed like he was not even close to living up his potential. And now it seems like not only is he living up to the potential, I think the bar for what his potential has been raised significantly. And now it really does feel like he could wrestle for anybody. Anybody. And that's fantastic. And it makes me happy. And it's one of the reasons these awards are important. And, I'm going to try not to go off too much about the fucking bullshit that I see about the awards. I'll just say this. A peer-based award is meaningful. And for the people who constantly bitch about, one, the people who are the loudest about bitching about how unimportant this is and, oh, God, put that on a resume, ha ha ha, are the same motherfuckers who are bitching and pissing and moaning and trying to fucking weasel and politic their way into an award. That's one thing. And I've got the fucking messages to prove it. And the other part of it is, ask the people who have won awards whether it was meaningful to them. Ask Rick Michaels what it felt like to win Booker of the Year. Ask Chip Day what it felt like to win Wrestler of the Year. Ask him. Ask any number of people who thought that they were unnoticed what it was like to win an award. Ask Jonathan Feltner how it felt to win announcer/commentator of the year on multiple occasions, if he takes pride in that at all. And ask Jeff G. Bailey if it felt validating that his peers acknowledged him of being every bit as great as we all know he is. Ask him if it matters. Ask Bill Behrens if it matters, and if that's why he's campaigning so hard for fucking Anarchy to get their due this year. It matters. But if it doesn't matter to you, wonderful. Wonderful. Then you can take your self-righteousness, pour it in a glass, put it in a freezer, freeze it solid, and then you can shove it up your dick hole. Best manager. Matt Hankins by 100 miles. And then Logan Chase, who I am very impressed with. And then Dr. Brock. I guess. I don't know what else to say. If you don't acknowledge that this is motherfucking Hankins' year, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He's one of the few that I think is a lock. Another one I think is a lock is Gary Lamb for Best Promoter. Though Ricky Wiggins for KLT, you can't deny that they have huge crowds. Yes, they charge $5 and all that kind of stuff. But if you're the top drawing promotion, you're going to be up here for Best Promoter automatically. And then Action Wrestling, some might question this one, but it came down to a number of promotions are copying their style of doing the dual show thing. So that is the thing that put them over the top. So Southern Honor, KLT, and Action Wrestling for promoter, or Matt Griffin, Ricky Wiggins, and Gary Lamb, respectively, more like. Best Booker. This is one where I think we missed the boat on one thing. I think the Anarchy booking team should have been on here. I think we missed the boat on that one. And I'll own up to that because that's the kind of detail that I should catch. And I didn't. I'm just being honest about it. We fucking fucked up that one. But you know what would have helped? If the Anarchy booking team had gotten so many nominations that they were amongst the top. But they didn't. And so when we looked at the list of how many nominations did so-and-so and such get, the Anarchy team was not amongst the top. So that comes down to the nomination process fucking matters. Okay? Not that I'm giving an excuse. I do think Anarchy should have been on here. I do think they should have been discussed more thoroughly. And that didn't happen. But that didn't happen because not enough people nominated them. Okay. Dylan, Southern Honor. Ace, Pro South. Todd Sexton, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. Justin Legend, Southern Violence and Wrestling. I have no idea who's going to win this fucking thing. That's exciting. I have no idea who's going to win this fucking thing. I really don't. Best promotion. Southern Honor. Southern Violence and Wrestling. Pro South Wrestling, Action Wrestling. Again, I think the glaring omission is Southern Fried, as it was pointed out to me by more than one person. And I can't disagree with you. I will say that Southern Fried had an incredibly small nomination fucking backing them up. People were not putting Southern Fried in as best promotion, which means the boys don't think of that as the best promotion, which hurt them. I think Anarchy should have been here as well. I think Anarchy was hurt, and they're not getting as much due as they could have gotten because they didn't get the nominations in. Next year, I hope people take that part seriously. Getting the nominations in is as important or more important in some cases than the voting itself. Now you know. And we're the only award show that opens it up to that degree. You can see Southern Violence as a presence this year. That's a testament to two things. Their consistency throughout the entire year, even through COVID, and the fact that they got the fucking nominations in there. And you know what? I ain't mad at them, bro. Best live event. Southern Honor Wrestling still here too. Great choice for them. Anarchy Wrestling Hardcore Hell would likely be my choice. Pro South Wrestling 12th Anniversary Super Show. Cool. Action Wrestling, which was highlighted by Matt Sells Hair versus Royals $2,500. That started the incredible phenomenon that was Matt Sells, motherfucking over guy that actually wins matches. And brought about COVID. Best ring announcer. We hear you. We heard you, people. We have separated best ring announcer and best commentator or commentating team into two separate awards. You're motherfucking welcome. Best ring announcer, Diana Michelle, Scott Hensley, Ben Masters. Fucking three great choices if you ask me. Best commentator or commentary team, John Johnson would be my pick. Brandon Benefield and Gerald Bonner from Southern Honor, and Shane Knowles and Wicked Nemesis from Pro South. Though they no longer work together, that doesn't mean that they didn't, and they most certainly did. Best referee, David Weekley, Daryl Hall, Matthew Gibson. Three phenomenal fucking choices. And let me just tell you, though I'm not going to relay the conversation, just even something as simple as the committee discussing best referee, who should be on here and who should not, and whittling it down, was just a testament to how much we're all paying attention to the scene, how much we give a fuck, how much we're trying to make sure the best people are up for the awards and win the awards. Yeah. Best mentor, Todd Sexton, Ace Haven, and some dipshit named Steven Platinum. I was really struck being nominated. I also had a number of people put my name in for legend. I used what power I had in the committee to take myself out of the legends. I didn't think it was right for me to be there. But mentor, yeah. I'm down. I'm down to be up for that award. Now, if Todd won it, would I begrudge it? Nope. Would Ace Haven, if he won it, would I begrudge it? Nope. And it hasn't always been that way. There's been times where I did not win for Booker and I was fucking pissed. Shit, I'm mad that I never even got put up for promoter. Because I look back on that now and I go like, that's some bullshit. Because there were years where I fucking promoted a show that got the most people watching out of any show that year. And I did more shows than anybody and was in more venues and got shit over in more places. So I'm still mad that I'll never got considered for promoter. But mentor, hell yeah, I do that shit. So does Ace Haven. So does Todd Sexton. By the way, I think it's notable that, one of the things I love about what Matt Hankins is doing with PCW, with the PCW Remix, is this sort of motto or mission statement, or the, wrestling that looks like you, no matter who you are. I think that's really great. And if you look at these awards, and I mean, you don't have to just, but motherfuckers, we've got white, black, sexual orientation. It's a true reflection of what's happening in the state of Georgia. Not shoehorning in anybody, not doing any kind of affirmative action bullshit. That never entered our committee's discussion. But look at how it laid out. I think it's beautiful. I think it's wonderful. And I think it's a positive thing, and we need to acknowledge it. Best feud and rivalry. Todd Sexton and his company versus David Manders and Company, Southern Fried Championship Wrestling. Bill Behrens versus Matt Hankins in Anarchy. AC Mack versus Brett Eisen, Action Wrestling. And Southern Violence and Wrestling versus Fame at Southern Violence and Wrestling. Sweet. Ted Allen Legends Award. Keep in mind the winner must receive 50% of the vote. Jimmy Oxendine, Bull Buchanan, Robert Gibson. Are all three of them legends in their own right? Absolutely. Should Jimmy Oxendine win this year? Abso-fucking-lutely. Vote for that motherfucker. I haven't said that about anybody yet where I was like, you gotta vote for it. It's just maybe I've expressed, I'm kind of favoring this guy, or I think this person should win, or this girl, whatever. Vote for Jimmy Oxendine. He deserves it. I think this is the right year for it. Best promo. 3 totally different kind of promos. 3 great representations of different ways to do promos. And just 3 great promos. Joe Black with that Southern honor fucking production touches, only they can do it. But don't get it twisted. It's got nothing to do with a smoke in a mirror. All it's got to do with is a spotlight and a sharpening and letting you see facets of the great diamond that is that Joe Black promo. It's got nothing to do with fucking propping that thing up. That thing is its own motherfucking show. I don't care what production elements were put on it, though the production elements are gorgeous. It is about Joe Black's greatness of cutting that promo. Super fucking great. And a number of promos got thrown around when we were talking about it in the committee, and I said, here's my standard. Promos are for promotion. Does this promote a match, or promote something to get something done? Is it a call to action to somebody? Joe Black's most certainly is. That promo alone led to people coming to see him against Corey Hollis, and certainly about getting eyeballs on it and people caring about it. So yes, of course, it should be up for promo of the year. Shane Marks talking eyeballs into watching that empty arena title match. Anarchy gave us shit when nobody was giving us shit. They had the first fucking event show of the COVID era, and they deserve props for that. And I feel they deserve more props for that than they're going to get. But Shane Marks' promo is a great thing to acknowledge, and it was fucking great. That's your serious no frills promo. And then Brock Johnson is the comedy promo that was fucking wild. That dude was in a motherfucking swamp, man. Allow me to introduce myself. Did Brock Johnson get more attention off of this? Did he get booked because of this promo? Yes. So it is a successful promo. Any one of those, they're all fucking great. And we should all be proud that these are the 3 promos that are up in the first year of this award. Speaking of which, first year we're going to have Best Match. And these are fucking great ones. Griff Garrison versus Corey Hollis for the Southern Fried Championship. That happened in the Landmark. Joe Black versus William Huckabee dog collar match. Matt Sells versus Eric Royal, hair versus cash. What can I say, folks? It's fucking awesome. Gonna have the awards not tomorrow, but next Tuesday. Ooh, Daniel's about to kick him with the crane kick, sucker. I gotta switch over to Raw, though. It's about to start. Commentary. So, of course, if you're gonna vote, vote. If you need a ballot, there's ways to get it. Look on gwhnewsandnotes.blogspot.com. I have a feeling that this award show will be the most listened to, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be wonderful. And, I mean, with putting my modesty aside for a bit, there's a group of us that worked really hard, and it's no secret that, you know, at one point we were considering not doing them. It just seemed like it was such a fucked up year. But then that was ultimately why we needed to do them. Because it was a fucked up year. And why should we take away acknowledgement for the wrestlers? Like, all these people who bitch, moan, and complain are also the last people who really give a fuck about the scene in general. That's the truth. And I no longer am going to apologize for giving a fuck about the scene. A couple other news items before I get to the commentary. I saw where an episode of Tapped Out, I believe it was like the New Year's Eve one, had more than 100,000 people who listened to it. That is fucking awesome. It's a testament to consistency, and it's a testament to quality from Nick and Myron that happened. That's awesome. It's fantastic. Rob Rod, if he counted up the number of reports that he did in 2020, it would be a stunning number considering people didn't run shows for months. And Larry was busier than ever, which is great. Because he almost stopped doing this shit altogether. And it would have been all of our losses. So that shit's wonderful. Now let's get to this commentary. I'm getting comfortable. So without getting into too much of the boring minutia of Action and Southern Honor ran a show on the same night last Friday. Kevin Ryan is on both shows. Does Kevin Ryan have a part in this fuck up? Yes. But I don't think he's primarily at fault. Here's the problem. Action goes on first. So they have him in the 5th match. Now, this was a card, keep in mind, where it was for Matt Griffin's 29th birthday. So they don't announce any matches beforehand. Southern Honor, obviously their thing, a little more intense, a little more tightly booked. It's a show that has 3 gimmick matches on it and this big tag team scramble thing of which Kevin Ryan is a part. So Dylan, one of the nicest motherfuckers in Georgia, one of the easiest people to deal with, and a person who, even when I am fucking hitting him over the head with the proverbial fucking frying pan yelling at him for something, takes that shit and has a fucking very even-keeled temperament and a level head about him. Just a fucking decent person to deal with. Gary Lamb is an asshole by his own admission, but Gary Lamb also has nothing to do with the ins and outs of running a wrestling show. He is a promoter first. He keeps the fucking trains running on time. He keeps the gears moving and makes sure they're oiled up. But beyond that, he trusts other people to handle and do their job. And running the wrestling show part is not his job. That's Dylan's. And he leaves him to it. So any question about, well, you know, you're going to stick it to Gary Lamb, you're not sticking it to Gary Lamb. You're sticking it to Dylan and you're sticking it to the boys. Let's make that fucking clear right from the jump. And that's why I'm so fucking mad about this bullshit. So after much haranguing back and forth, Matt Griffin, with a bit of an attitude, says, okay, I'll put him on second so he can get over to Southern Honor afterwards, which is mighty white of him. First of all, these length of conversations shouldn't even need to happen. But sure, okay, great, you're going to put him on second, then he can get there. So Dylan has to move that tag match to right before they're going to put the cage up. They didn't take an intermission because they thought the cage would take so long to put up, it would serve as an intermission. As it turns out, YJ and company get that motherfucker up in 15 minutes. I've seen it, and they did it again. But that's neither here nor there. Kevin Ryan barely gets there on time. The reason he barely gets there on time to Southern Honor is because after saying they were going to put him on in the second match, they ended up putting him on the 4th match. For a show, again, where they didn't announce any matches beforehand, where Matt Griffin was bitching and pissing and moaning that it's going to cost Kevin Ryan creatively. Oh, yeah, on this fucking booked on the fly, fucking write names on a fucking dry erase board bullshit that they were doing that night. The fuck out of here. So at the end of the day, what did Matt Griffin say? First, he put him on 5th, knowing he was booked on both shows. But let's say he didn't even know he was booked on both shows, which he most certainly did. At that point, when he does know, he eventually concedes to putting him on second. Still a dickhead move. Let's put him on fucking first. But whatever. They put him on second. But then they end up putting him on 4th. Again, it doesn't hurt anybody, except it hurts the other guy's show potentially and hurts Kevin Ryan. Kevin Ryan, from what I heard, gets an earful from the fucking vets at Southern Honor about you got to handle your shit better. And while true, it shouldn't have been an issue to begin with. But it made me feel good that Southern Honor actually had some people to fucking talk to him about shit. But here's what I don't like. Action, who purports to be this, we're bigger than fucking wrestling in the state of Georgia and all that, which is fine. If that's your aspiration and we have connections and we're helping guys get booked and all this, then you got to lead. And those are not the actions of a fucking leader of a promotion. Doing shit that is the detriment of the boys. And for a group that claims that they want to work with people, I mean, I get it. There's bones to pick, right? You're running a Friday show just like we are. Oh, you wanted to do this SCI tournament thing like we do it. La, 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 la. I get that there's a million things. And it's wrestling bullshit and all the rest of it. But it would be nice if Matt Griffin would be as decent as he pretends that he is, apparently. There is no reason to not make that whole thing as easy as possible. There is no reason to fucking be a bitch and fucking make things as difficult as possible. And I know that people around him know that it was a fucked up thing to do. I know Dylan Hales knows that. I'm not sure Scott Hensley knows it, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he does. I know that Dylan Hales knew it was fucked up. That's probably why he was trying to jump on a fucking grenade that really he had no part in all of that terrible decision making on the part of Action Wrestling. I think it was mean-spirited. I think it was incredibly negative. And I think it was the wrong message to send out to the boys. And if they think that the boys side overall with Action, they are mistaken. They're mistaken. And ultimately, that's the ultimate arbiter of this shit. Even when you look at the Georgia Wrestling History nominations, or you look at this situation, the boys are going to tell you who's right, who's wrong, right? I'll just be blunt. Southern Fried was not up for promotion of the year because the boys, by and large, who wrestle on a variety of shows, did not say Southern Fried. They got nominations, but they didn't get nearly as many as other promotions did. And that hurt them. The boys let you know. I'm beyond expecting somebody to apologize or to fix their behavior publicly. But I would hope in the future that the guys would just work this shit out. I mean, when we were pushing Gunnar Miller, it took a coordinated effort from PCW, Anarchy, and Scenic City, and we made that shit happen. We decided that Gunnar Miller was the one that had the most potential to get signed. And he did. And we got together and fucking made sure he was booked properly. And it was to everyone's benefit. And I don't know if you've missed this memo. Often I can be combative. And often people don't like me. And I sure as fuck don't like people. Not a lot of them. But that doesn't mean that I let that petty horse shit get in the way. Especially when it is to somebody's benefit. Especially when it is to the boys' benefit or the scene's benefit. I can sublimate my fucking ego. I suggest Matt Griffin learn to do the fucking same. I get it. I think that one of the reasons why I was a good trainer, continue to be a good trainer, why I was good at booking a promotion, is because I was never a huge star, per se. Right? Though I will say I worked in front of crowds way larger than just about everybody else and that kind of shit. At the end of the day, I was a fucking glorified jobber that had to get my heat back every fucking night with my mouth. Right? Not like that, but talking. But I think it's one of the things that made me a good trainer is because I could see wrestling in kind of a big picture way and then break it down and analyze it and then teach it. I'm a teacher at heart. And I continue to be that. So I get it. Matt Griffin didn't have the career that he envisioned he wanted in the ring. Though that doesn't stop him from talking about it as if it was this most fucking amazing thing ever. Right? I get that chip on the shoulder. And I get wanting to have it, and I get using it. And I don't begrudge any of that. But, and I'll just be blunt when I say this. This idea that action is oh so noble and oh so much better than everybody else is horseshit. It's another place to fucking bounce off the ropes and fall down. And at the end of the day, it's all fake fighting in underwear. And as much as I like drama, and as much as I appreciate the competition aspect, you can't be the proponent of the boys and do things to the detriment of the boys because of your own insecurities and bullshit ego shit. If you are in charge, I hold promoters and bookers to different standards than I do to wrestlers, and always will. And if you want to come at me with, yeah, but this one time you did this, that, and the other, I would probably agree with everything that you said. It doesn't stop me from having the perspective I do now, which is a guy who I think is a little bit fucking smarter than everybody else when it comes to this pro wrestling shit in a macro sense. Because I think about it constantly. And I'm not fixated on PCW anymore, which allows me to have a different kind of scope and vision. And it's why I've started watching national wrestling shows again, even though I really can't stand a couple of them, because I got to stay hips to the game. In a perfect world, what would happen? Matt Griffin would apologize. And then they would just all sort of agree, you know what, we're going to make this as fucking easy on each other as we can. And the game of chess that I described last year could give way to something else, which is people focusing in on their own shit. Because everybody mocked, right? A bunch of people mocked, oh, Steve, people aren't really conflicting against each other, and they're not really playing chess against each other. It really isn't this group against this group. But now we see, oh, yes, it is. Even when it doesn't serve the best interest of anybody, including the perpetrator of the offense, they still do it because they can't help it. Well, let me ask you this. On the national level, does the WWE pettiness that happens, is it helping them right now? No, it is not. And if you can let some of that pettiness go, what do you get? You get shit like the Brody Lee tribute on AEW. When you just add a little bit of humanity and a little bit of selflessness and just give up your fucking unwarranted egos, if only for a little while. Pretty harsh, Steve. Maybe. But I'm not calling for a boycott or any of that kind of horse shit. I want action to succeed. Ask the fucking committee. There were a couple of times when action was going to be cut out of this, that, or the other as far as an award goes. And I was often the person advocating. They are an integral, vital part of the scene. And they may think that they're bigger than Georgia wrestling. And I get why they would want to aspire to that. But, one, it ain't true. And two, cool. Well, if you're bigger than wrestling, if you are the bigger promotion and the bigger man, then why don't you fucking act like it? This has been Full Disclosure.